Hi, welcome. Gabe Valdez here with another video. This is for creating a VEX latch on OnShape. So I'm going to demonstrate how you could do that using VEX Components, making that latch. You can follow along with this. I went ahead and made this parts assembly public. So if you go to public and search for creating a VEX latch, so creating a VEX latch. You'll notice that it comes up, so you can go ahead and click on this and make a copy for yourself, and then you can follow along. So let me go ahead and go back to Owned by Me, and I'm going to go ahead and work off of this one and walk you through the assembly. If you happen to open it up and you see nothing, make sure you click on this Assembly tab down here, and you'll see all those components. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to make, I'm going to go back to my original one here. I'm going to walk you through how to make this latch. So imagine this C channel as being, the door that swings, or, the gate swinging, and then aligning to this door jamb or to this 4x4, whatever, what have you. And then you have this latch here that you could slide to the right, which unlocks. You see that pin leaves that pillow block. So now if this, again, this is my door, can now swing open because it's no longer latched in place. Or I can go ahead and slide this over, and I am now locked in place and latched. So pretty simple latch. It's very similar to the one that you'll see in the example in the curriculum. So if I go over to the course, you'll see that this is just going to slide into this pin will just slide right in here. So that's essentially what I'm creating using VEX Components. And I've went ahead and created some limits on my slide, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this copy here. I am going to then slide this over, drag this over, click on it. I'm going to rotate this guy 90 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here and fix this in place so that way I cannot move it. I'm going to align this with this by creating a mate, fasten mate between maybe the center of this hole here. I held shift to grab that center. I'm going to zoom in over here. I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to snag that one there. And I wanted to go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees, selected by pressing this button here. But I want it, I don't want it to be flush exactly, because I do want some space between my door, in air quotes, my gate in air quotes, and my door jamb, or this 4x4, or whatever we are going to latch onto. So I'm going to click on offset, and in the Z direction, I'll go ahead and add, I don't know, 1/10 of an inch. Oh, wrong way. Negative 0.10, 1/10 of an inch the other way. Create that little gap between. There we go. Okay. So behind this are all my hands, and I'm going to have this gate that swings open. But anyway, let me go ahead and then slide this over enough so it's intersecting with my components here. I'm going to slide these out of the way because I'll snag them later. Move my pillow blocks here. All right, so let me go ahead and place my pillow blocks onto this. I'm going to create a fasten mate between, and I'll select the bottom of this here, between that circle there. So notice I didn't grab that whole cylinder. I grabbed that circle because I want it to line up with the face of this C channel. And I'm going to go ahead and, I don't remember which one I selected, so I'll just go and freestyle here. I'm going to hold shift, grab the center of that. It's on the wrong side, so I'm going to press the flip primary axis button over here in my menu, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate it, and then click OK. Then I'll do the same thing for the other one. Oops, I need to do that. So I'm going to click Fasten Mate, hold my right click down so I can rotate this. I'm going to snag that circle there. I'm going to hold the center of my mouse wheel and pan this over. hold the shift key again, and then I will go ahead and let's put it right here. I'm going to flip it again. I'm going to rotate it again, hit OK. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Right, bring this guy over here. I'm going to go ahead and do a fasten mate. I'm going to select that circle. I'm going to select hold shift and select the center of that. Flip it, rotate it, hit OK. All right. So I don't have any screws in there just yet. I got screws and caps nuts over here. I'll go ahead and demonstrate how you can do one, but I'll do that later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this shaft into these pillow blocks, but I'm going to create, rather than doing a fasten mate, I'm going to do a slider mate so that this slides to the left and right. So I'm going to select slider mate. What does this do? Planar mate, cylindrical mate, allows translation. Ooh, let's try this one. Allows translation and rotation. I love that. Okay, so let's do that one. So I'm going to go ahead and select that center there with this center here. And I'm going to that is so far in. I think what I'm going to do is I'll come back and create limits later, but I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I should be able to, oh yes, perfect. Okay, so this is kind of what I wanted earlier. Okay. Now I foresee that I'm going to have an issue because of the way this lock bar is. Won't be able to exactly rotate this the way I want because I'll interfere with this, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and run with this. I need to put this lock bar onto this 1x, so that way when I rotate this 1x, the lock plate allows this to rotate the shaft. So what I need to do first is that in OnShape, the lock bar, which comes as one piece in your VEX kit, is treated as two in OnShape. It really is two components, which is this piece here and this piece here, but it does come pre-assembled in your VEX kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fasten mate. I'm going to select the center of that. I'm going to then, oops, let me zoom out a wee bit. Select, needs to come in from the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and line up that face there with the center of this. There we go. And I held the shift key to grab that center, click OK, and my lock plate is connected. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lock plate. I'm going to fasten, let's do that face there. That selected that circle. I'm going to hold shift key, select the center of this one here. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and I'm going to hit OK. There we go. Okay. So I would have to add some screws again to hold this lock plate in place. I need some screws. I did not add any screws initially, some small ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to other. I'm going to go to my VEX V5 parts library. I'm going to search my VEX V5 screws, Part Studios, and I'm going to select 1/4-inch screws, which I believe are the smallest ones. So anyway, I'll add those to your parts assembly, so that way I can add those here. I can demonstrate one for you. So what I'll do is I am going to click OK there. I'm going to do a fasten mate. I'll select the center of that. I am going to select the center of this. And then I am going to offset in the Z direction. Looks like maybe 0.2 inches or 0.25. Can I do the full 2.5? Yeah. All right, hit OK. And then I have a little bit of threads on the other side to where I can go ahead and grab one of my caps nuts here and fasten that in place. So I'm going to go ahead and select the center of this. I'm going to fasten that to the center of this. And I am going to hit offset, and I'm going to move it up in the Z direction just a wee bit. Let's try negative 0.1. Oh, way too much. Negative 0.05. Negative 0.04. That's pretty good right there. Okay. So now I've got that all connected as one. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a fasten mate between the center of this hole here and the center of that shaft. So I'm going to do a fasten mate between this. I'm going to hold the shift key. I'm going to click that. I'm going to go ahead and hold the shift key and click that. It's pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. And that looks pretty decent. However, I forgot to offset it. Let me go ahead and offset that in what looks like the Z direction. Looks like the positive because it looks like the blue is going that way, but I'll probably be wrong, but it's okay. Let's try 2 inches. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Let's try 2.5. Let's do 2.25. What I want to do is I want to leave a little bit of space for some shaft collars. So I'll click OK. All right. Now, if this works out perfectly, and there's my interference of my parts, what I should be able to do is rotate this and slide it. So rotate it and slide it. Did I create a rotational limit, or is this just me? Anyway, let's try. Oh, no, that was just me not being able to rotate it all the way. Now, again, I'm running into some interference here because of the way I have assembled this. Notice it can slide forever left or right, but I can go ahead and create some limits on my slider there. Okay, so here's my. If I wanted to address this issue, I could create, instead of using one large C channel here, 2 separate ones to create a space in between. That would allow this to rotate. All right. Working pretty decently for now. All right, let me go ahead and see if I can play with my slider or my cylindrical options here. Let me create limits, and it's giving me some rotational limits, and it's giving me some slide limits. So limit Z, minimum distance, no minimum. Maximum distance, what happens if I do like a 2-inch distance here? Hit enter. What happens to this? So I slide it. Okay, so I end up running, can't slide it anywhere past that. Okay. And then what about that? So that's 2 inches in the Z direction, it looks like. So what about my minimum Z? I need it to stop about right here. 2 unlocks it. Now I may need to play with where I've placed this bar here. So let me go ahead and, since I want this to slide back about right here, I think I need to hold off on that thought. And I think I need to play with my fasten mate here. No, not that one. Is it this one? No. Oh, okay. So let me walk back. After I did the cylindrical mate here, I assembled this. So I fastened the centerpiece of the lock bar to that. So I believe that's this here. Then I fastened the lock bar to the 1x, which is this fasten here. Then I fastened my screw, fastened the nut onto the screw, and then fastened the 1x assembly onto my shaft, which is this one here. So here is my offset here. So I need to go a little bit further up, I think. do 2.5. I'll hit OK. What that's going to do is it's going to allow me to slide back further, which allows me to unlock my latch. Then I can lock it into place. So there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and do that for now. And let's go back to my cylindrical. My cylindrical mate and create some limits for that. So in the Z direction, what do I want my limits to be in the Z direction? Okay, so I need it to unlock right here. Let's make this, let me look at this from the front. It's giving me a value there. I like that. I need to unlock it. So unlocking it though brings it way back here. And what I want to do is I want to add a shaft collar. So I think I need to move this up the shaft just a little bit more. I'm going to go back to my last fasten, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2.75. I'm going to click OK there, and let's see what happens when I do this. Okay, so it's going to slide back. Shaft collar is going to be there. It's going to slide in latch. Shaft collar will be on that side. There we go. I think I got this where I like it. So again, what are the shaft collars? The shaft collars are going to snag onto this metal shaft here, and it'll prevent this from sliding left or right. So that way I can hold this slider or this one by rather in the position on this shaft. Okay. So it's these two shaft collars will create limits and a physical build for this one by on this metal shaft there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it from the front again. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to play with my cylindrical mate, and I'm going to create some limits. And so I'm going to push this back. Whoops. Oh, that's okay. Let's push this back, and I want it to stop about right here. It's going to give me a value of 2 inches. So I'm going to create my maximum of 2 inches. And that should allow me to only go back to that point right there. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. Now, what about my minimum? Slide this back. So about right here. What happens if I do 1.552? That's the number it's giving me right here. Hit enter. Click OK. Beautiful. Look, unlocked, locked, unlocked, locked. So now I can go ahead and again, I'm running interference here. If I wanted to prevent the metal from interfering with this metal here, I could have created 2 separate pieces here. Anyway, I'm going to run with this because I've already started. I'm committed. There's no turning back. So I'm going to go ahead and take my shaft collar here. I'm going to rotate it so I see the other side. It's a little bit easier to snag onto and grab from the other side because I don't see that little inset screw. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this onto my shaft here. I'm going to create an offset and bring that in what I think is the positive Z direction. Let's try 2 inches. All right, nice. 2.5 inches. Let's try 2.6. Too far, too far, too far. 2.55. That looks good. See that little inset screw there? So you drive that inset screw, and that screw is going to snag onto this metal shaft. It's going to grab onto it, and it's going to prevent this one by piece from sliding left or right onto this metal shaft. Beautiful component. Love it. They have some new ones in the new kits. I think that don't have these inset screws because inset screws were always a pain when they came out or you lost them. So anyway, I'll do fasten mate again for this one. Again, right there. That one was, I don't know, 2.55. I've already forgotten. So I'm going to go ahead and try. Looks like the negative Z direction based on the way they placed this, but we'll find out. 2.75. All right, let's try 2.8. Let's try looking at this from the front. Oops, I'm at negative 2.8. Zoom in a little bit. Let's try negative 2. Or let's try negative 3. That looks pretty close. I'm going to say that's good enough for what we're doing here. Okay. All right. So as I take a look at this from the front, here's my latch. There's my outer limit. Here's my other limit. Notice my limits aren't quite right because I still got some space between those shaft collars. So I'm going to go back to my cylindrical feature here. I'm going to come back over this way. And there's my 2. I'm going to try to change this to 2.1. Let's see what happens. A little too far. Let's try 2.05. That looks better. And instead of 1.552, let's try something less. Let's try 1.4. Oh, a little too much. Want it right there, really. 1.493. I love how it tells you. Nice. Click OK. Beautiful. Unlocked, locked. All right. Could this design be improved? Absolutely. What are some of the issues? Well, I'm going to have metal interference because this won't be able to rotate because it's going to hit into this C channel here. So how do I solve that? Well, maybe create 2 separate C channels, one that holds this, the other one that holds this, and then you have a space in between, so it allows you to rotate this. And then here I go, and slide it left and right. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add one more screw just to show you again that process. I'll bring this screw in here. I'll add Kep's nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten mate center of this to the center of this. I need to flip that. I am going to offset it in the Z direction. Let's try 0.5. Looks like it's too far. Let's try 0.4. Maybe 0.5 is right, and I can't really see it. Oh, that looks okay. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and take the center of this, fasten mate that to this. I need to flip it. I need to offset it just a wee bit. Will it allow me to slide it? No. Okay, I'm going to see if I could slide it and it give me the Z value, but that was wishful thinking. 0.2 inches seemed to work just fine. All right, there we go. Okay. There's my latch. Again, I could slide it left, I could slide it right. Okay, it even allows, if I look at it from this side, to rotate this. Okay, but again, I've got some problems with this design because I used a full C channel here, so I'm going to have metal interference. But if I didn't worry about the rotation, I could just have this slide left or right and it'd work like a latch. Okay, extension, I can add another metal piece here. So that way I could put, once it's in the closed or locked position, I can put a padlock or a master lock between, this hole and some other hole that it aligns with. So that way I can lock my latch. Can't really lock my latch right now. I can just open and close it. But anyway, it works. All right. Other designs out there, most likely. So I'm excited to see what you guys can come up with. Thank you. Have a great day.